Hey everyone, hope you're having a great day. Helldivers 2 has been out for almost a year now, and I myself am nearing that 1,000 hours of playtime milestone. So although I do love this game to absolute death, there are some times when things kind of feel a bit stale. And one of the ways I've been trying to remedy this feeling of diving burnout is by means of self-imposed challenges or stuff like trick shotting. And I've been doing this so much on stream that a dear friend of the channel, Pocketed, who you should definitely check out, their content's really great, sent me this bounty list of challenges to do on stream. In short, some were a breeze, some were tough, and one was absolutely hair-ripping, but that one's for later. Lastly, before we start, I could have totally just cherry-picked the missions and difficulties needed to do these challenges, but there's no fun in that. So I try to do all of these live on stream with all the chaos that comes from Super Helldive, with the even more added chaos that comes from a full squad of teammates. Thank you again, Pocketed, for this, and let's start with challenge number 1. Sticky situation requires you to stick 10 beacons, your stratagem beacons, on top of chargers or Baltines. Chargers count for 1 single point and Baltines count for 3. Now, sticking beacons on top of enemies is one of the most fun things to do in this game. Not even on the Terminated side, even on the bot front with tanks, Hulks, even factory striders. So this was a great first challenge. You could definitely use a jump pack to make this very easy to do, because instead of throwing your stratagems horizontally on enemies, you can just jump above and throw it straight down. It's a lot more easier to get sticks this way. Chargers and Baltines do spawn frequently on higher difficulties, and to make sure you always have a stratagem ready, you can take something low CD such as a EAT and a Commando, which is what I took personally for this. And now that we have the plan and the gear, it's time for just the execution. And from these clips you see here, it doesn't take that much to stick it on a unit like a charger. Sometimes the beacons will bounce off, but most of the time it will stick. Baltines, however, with their height and narrow body frame can make it kind of hard to land these stickings consistently, but it's still possible. If you were to really focus on hunting down chargers and Baltines, you can easily complete this within, I don't know, the first 10 minutes of the game. And you might be able to land even more than just one beacon on the same unit. I did do this on stream, but didn't have the footage for it, so here's just a small compilation of clips I took from a single game. So this is where charger disrespecting takes a whole new level. Towel Snap requires you to melee a charger's butt as it runs past you and then pop it using a machine gun before it fully turns around. Sounds pretty straightforward here, and from reading the challenge text, what I kind of took note here was the word machine gun, or words. And we have 3 options here: the stalwart, the machine gun, and the heavy machine gun, with this challenge being dependent on popping the butt of the charger before it fully turns around. DPS does matter, so I went for the heavy machine gun. With that equipped and set to the highest rate of fire, I was just off to find some chargers. It gets a little bit difficult here because I knew I had to dodge the charge just barely, as it was right up against me, just so that I could still make my melee and have contact with it. Dodging the charger wasn't the hard part, landing the melee was. There was a lot of times when I thought my swing would make contact, but it didn't end up doing so. So I even changed my armor to be light armor, thinking that maybe that little bit of speed can help me dodge, then reposition myself to get the melee hit. And I even just took peak physique as well, just so I can get a little bit of that melee boost. Plus it works well with a heavy machine gun in general. And I was able to get this attempt where the charger butt exploded right after I meleeed it and shot it for a bit. But given how fast it popped, it made me think that the charger was already fairly damaged. And it did make me feel like I did the challenge honestly. So I kept trying again and again until I was able to get a solid shot at a full health charger. So that's Towel Snap, done and done. This one is interesting. Drive-by is to headshot a healthy Alpha Commander with a Senator while mid-flight. You must be within 20 meters of the target starting from your first shot. I know aiming with a jump pack mid-flight is on the list of medium priorities for Arrowhead to fix, but in the meantime, there is technically a way to aim while mid-jump. You can't really per se aim, but if you kept track of where your reticle is at the time of your jump, you're able to predict your shots since your reticle is pretty much locked for that duration of your jump. This is the hard part of the challenge, getting used to that jump pack finickiness, but if you have that handled, all you need to do is just find an untouched Alpha Commander and just fan the hammer. 3 Senator shots to the head is enough to decapitate and eventually have the Alpha Commander bleed out. Just be sure to ping the bug so you get the distance in terms of meters right, and then you jump and shoot. I did take several attempts at this. It, for the most part, was fairly easy. The hard part was Sometimes the Alpha Commander would also move a little to the left, a little to the right after my first or second shot. So landing the third one and getting the head to pop off wouldn't always happen. But since the jump pack is fairly low cooldown in terms of the charge, 15 seconds, and Alpha Commanders do spawn very frequently, almost in every single Super Helldive game, you're going to have a lot of attempts at this, and eventually one of them will click. So that's Drive-By off the board. Cool name, even cooler challenge, Deadeye Rider calls for you to headshot a Baltine using an ERT or Quasar cannon while standing on top of a charger. The charger must not be stunned or AFK. On that last bit about chargers are kind of interesting where they are either so homicidal that they will chase you from one corner of the map to another, or they'll simply just stand still and just watch paint dry. Of course, this challenge and all other challenges would be a lot easier if it involved you stunning a charger or taking advantage of an AFK charger, but there's no thrill in that. So in short, to do this challenge right, we're going to find an active charger. Since the last couple of updates, it only takes one shot now with anti-tank weapons to kill outright a Ball Titan. The issue I had with this one was just finding a Ball Titan that my teammates haven't gone to first, and for it to also look at me so I can one tap it in the head. A lot of times they are aggro towards my teammates, or they aren't around when there's also a charger I can easily get on top of. But eventually the stars will align and you'll be able to find a charger on the run and a Ball Titan on all fours that your teammates haven't gone to first. Technically, I did die here, but so did that Ball Titan, and I was on top of a charger when I fired, so we're gonna count this. Continuing on with the charger shenanigans, we have Stuntman I, and this is to stand on top of a charger and headshot it with an anti-tank weapon while mid-air. It didn't mention it in the challenge text, but I'm going to assume that this one needs to be an active charger too, so no stuns or no using an AFK charger for this. It's a pretty self-explanatory challenge. Out of all the tank weapons, the EAT is my best bet. It comes up pretty often and you can have it ready in hand without needing to charge it up when you fire. Chargers spawn pretty frequently in high difficulty, so once you find one, just try and get on top and land on it. And I like to have my camera already oriented to be facing what will be their head, so I just spend a small amount of effort taking aim and then firing. Now comes Stuntman II. Basically, you do the same thing as Stuntman I, except when you dive off the charger, you need to do a 360 and headshot the charger with it midair. Same setup, you know, jump pack, EAT, same enemy. The hard part here is just purely execution, so skill issue. And when doing the 360 spin, you need to do it fast, because if you take too long to spin, even if you're mid-air, the amount of time you've already spent in the air will cause you to go to a ragdoll state, and your Helldiver won't be able to even aim, let alone shoot the weapon. And I'll be honest, I never really aimed accurately while doing this. I just swiped my arm across my mouse pad, thinking that this was enough for a full rotation. I aimed at what would have been the head for a charger and just fired. So I was just really just crossing my fingers, and most of the time I got its sides, stripping off the armor. Other times I got really close, think I hit it in the face, but still had its head on the shoulders. Ultimately, after enough tries, I was able to get the shot on and just decapitate the dude. Witness Me involves hopping onto a healthy charger and burning it to death using the Flam 40 flamethrower while on top of it. I cannot think of a better name than Witness Me, by the way. I love Mad Max, and if I could totally have a sort of chroming emote from a Helldiver before doing this, then it'd be perfect. Last thing to note about this challenge is that you should take the armor with the inflammable passive so you don't die to your own burn ticks from the flamethrower. Even though you are going to burn that charger, you're going to be, you know, shooting straight down at the ground, so you're going to take some fire damage yourself. Same method as the first half of Stuntman 1 and 2, you gotta jump pack onto a charger, except now you need to stay on top of it, and this was the hard part. For some reason, staying on top of a charger was more difficult than anything. These guys like to buck and kick as if they're rodeo bulls, and sometimes their movement will cause you to be either flung off, sometimes at Mach speed, or you just might get thrown off very casually. But being thrown off still invalidates the progress for this challenge. One small tip here I have, it's a lot harder to stay on top of a heavy enemy, be a charger or Ball Titan if you're the host. Remaining on top of enemies such as a charger was a lot easier when I hopped into someone else's game, and with a lot of attempts kind of going sour due to various reasons, I was finally able to find a charger, stay on top of it, and then cook it from above. Witness me! Witness me! This next one here, Triple Threat, requires you to close 3 bug holes with grenades in a single jump. This should be doable with heaviness. And I agree. Heavy nests and mega nests are the best place to do this because of 1, how many holes there are for you to attempt this, and 2, just how close in proximity these holes are next to each other. When it comes to taking grenades, even though frag grenades lets you have 5 at default at max, I went for the high explosive grenades because of the longer fuse time. The long fuse time allows it to sort of bounce and roll into the bug hole so that when the grenade detonates, it will be able to close it out. The next thing you want to keep in mind is the location where you jump. You need to see the route you'll be taking, and you want to make sure your jump puts you within throwing distance of 3 holes and that it is high enough for you to get all throws out before you land. Once you find your spot, it just comes to jumping and throwing. I said earlier with drive-by that you can't aim while mid-jump. To be more specific, you can't aim with your weapons. Throwables such as grenades and stratagems will still go wherever your field of vision is looking at. Your character model won't even be correctly orientated to it, but trust me, those grenades and stratagems will go that direction. And here comes the final boss of all these challenges, and this one was so impressively difficult that Pocketed even placed it on its own column on his bounty sheet, and they said it themselves that they didn't even know at the time of writing this that this challenge was possible. So what is Stratagem Hero? Not to be confused with a minigame on your ship, but Stratagem Hero requires you to stand on top of a Bile Titan and stick it with all available stratagem beacons, with at least there being 3, and the Bile Titan must die from all this. To start, Bile Titans do spawn a lot on difficulty 10, but with your teammates taking a lot of anti-tank, stratagems, the hard part is going to be finding one alive. After you're done with that hard part, the next hard part is landing on top of one. I don't know if you realized it, but landing on top of a charger is child's play to landing on top of a little skyscraper. It helps a lot to already be on elevated ground before jumping onto a Bile Titan. When it comes to landing on one, you want to make sure that they're locked in one of their attack animations. I found the Bow Spit one to be the best bet, because in this attack, which is easily telegraphed by their head being reeled back, you jump and land while they are spewing bile to your location. If the Titan no longer has their bile sacks, they offer a melee attack, and this attack can either be short or extended, but either way there's a lot of movement, which makes it hard. Once on top, you gotta stay on top, and the charger's body is wide enough where you can find a way to stay on it for maybe 3 to 4 seconds pretty consistently, but imagine how much more difficult it is to try and remain on the narrow frame of a Bile Titan. Still, if you made it this far, all that's left for you now is to let your fingers dance. For this challenge, any stratagem can work, but you probably want to use stratagems that have short input codes and can be used frequently, so that you can attempt on more than one Bile Titan should you fail. And Orbital Precision Strike and Resupply are some 2 easy ones to enter. I know Orbital Airburst and Eagle Strafing Run are also 3 key input stratagems, but I can't always kill a Bile Titan with those, and the Resupply Pods are guaranteed to do some significant damage, as well as some other Hell Pod type stratagem, and the Precision Strike will almost always kill it. A good tactic is to always have one stratagem already prepared in your hand, so that when you jump, you can throw it on a Bile Titan when you land. I have so many different attempts of this thing going wrong, either some from just the new jump pack ragdoll shenanigans, other from dying when I'm on top of the Bile Titan to seemingly nothing. Other times I just completely choked with slow grandpa fingers, and one was just really unfortunate timing. No! No! I even talked to Pocketed about it, and they made the call that you can still throw one mid-air, mid-jump, and that would still be fine. It'll count towards the challenge. This felt like a lot more doable now because of that. And after, I want to say 3 hours or so of combined attempts, I was finally able to pull it off. Oh, yeah! And yeah, that was all 9 challenges, and I just wanted to make this quick list here, just rank them all in terms of difficulty. So for Sticky Situation, I'm going to place this on easy. I've become very accustomed to throwing Hell Pod stratagems on top of heavies, be it chargers, impalers, tanks, or hulks. So this was just a matter of frequency, and doing it in a whole game felt like a very generous amount of time to do it in. Towel Snap, I'm going to put this in the medium difficulty. The hard part for me here was just the spacing. Being able to narrowly dodge a charge but still be close enough to melee was something I had issues with. Although I did do it, I want to say I kept doing the same thing over and over again and just was able to do it out of luck, If you asked me to replicate it again in the very next attempt, I couldn't give you the certainty that I will. Next is Drive By, and I'm going to put this actually on the easy category behind Sticky Situation. Reason being, alpha commanders are very commonplace, and you can attempt this challenge literally every 15 seconds when your jump pack comes online. You could argue that the aim lock with the jump pack could get some getting used to, but I was already very much used to it when it came to this challenge, so it was just really hitting 3 shots on the head. Most of my failed attempts came from hitting 1 or 2 shots on the head of an alpha commander as I jump. Next is Deadeye Rider, and I'm going to put this on medium, ahead of Towel Snap. The difficulty I had with this was just having a Bile Titan be 1 alive and 2 looking at me for it to headshot. Chargers are easy to find, and jump packing into one isn't that hard either, but finding a Bile Titan aggroed onto you that your teammates haven't gone to first is what made this challenge last more than it should have in my opinion. Stuntman 1. Stuntman 1 is pretty easy. Easy enough to put it, let's say, behind Sticky Situation. I feel that the only difficult part about this was landing on a charger, but let's be honest here, I don't think even landing on a charger with a jump pick is pretty hard. Even diving off of it and headshotting is pretty simple. So that's, I think it belongs here. Stuntman 2, I would have to say, is our first hard level challenge. I didn't expect it to be that difficult, and to be honest, even with peak physique equipped for the easier weapon handling, doing the 360 was the hardest part for me. I know some other folks here can pull this off a lot more consistently, but when I was doing the challenge, I was just literally grasping at straws here. I knew I could land on a charger, dive off of it, and shoot. So to be honest, I was just praying that eventually one of these will land, and it did. Witness me gonna put this at the top of the medium difficulty. The main challenge with this is just staying on top of the charger. With an awkward collision and sometimes you getting flung off, dropped off, I had to do this attempt a lot. Triple threat, this one, people might feel like it's hard. I feel like this one is pretty easy. I'm going to put this in the easy category right in front of drive-by. The only difficulty in this, in my opinion, is just finding the bug holes lined up in a way where you're able to get all your grenades to reach all 3 of them in one jump. The actual act of jumping and throwing the grenades isn't that highly complicated, and that's why I'm putting it here. Lastly, we have Stratagem Hero, and hopefully to no one's surprise, I'm putting this in the hard difficulty ahead of Stuntman II. There's just so much that needs to go right here. Having your stratagems available, sticking them on the Bile Titan, landing on the Bile Titan, even finding the Bile Titan. Every failed attempt here felt like a stab to the gut, and getting those 3 beacons to stick and see that big bug just hit the ground was quite the feeling. But yeah, overall, definitely loving these challenges. Another big thanks to Pocketed for making this list, and be sure to check them out. They make great Helldivers 2 content, and if you're interested in more jump pack stuff, then definitely check them out. I'm curious to see how you guys feel about these challenges, and if you have any of your own, please be sure to let me know what you got cooking up in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. I am nearing 5,000 subscribers, and I do want to do something special once I hit that milestone. And if you want to see more stuff like this, also be sure to follow me on Twitch, where I stream pretty often. And be sure to join my channel's Discord as well to chat with me and other cool folks who enjoy the game. Links to both are in the video description. Thanks again for watching, and I'm out.